The following is a presentation of William Patterson University Television.
Welcome back to the desk. It's been an eventful week of spring sports. With the weather warming up, we are here to break down everything going on with William Patterson Sports. Joining me is Justin McHugh, Samantha Woods, Joe Rea, and Chris Douglas. We'll start things off with the softball team who had a doubleheader against Montclair State. From game one, we'll take a look at the numbers where our softball team had a nice 2-1 victory over the Montclair State Redhawks. 6 hits for our Pioneers compared to 3 hits on Montclair State. 7 strikeouts on Montclair State, only 1 for the Pioneers. And the errors can cost you a game. Not crazy here in this game. 2 errors from Montclair State, 1 error from William Patterson. 2-1 victory. Justin McHugh, what did you see from the Pioneers in game one?
I'll tell you what, I wouldn't be surprised if all of us kind of echo the same sentiment, and Sarah Burns has been a big reason why this Pioneer softball team is so good. Because going into the season, we said it a few times already, we expected some good production from the hitting. But sometimes when the hitting doesn't step up, you have girls like Sarah Burns putting on a show. She only allowed 3 hits and 1 run in that ball game. So if you have a girl, she's now 11-4 in the season. That was her 11th victory. If she's going to be playing that well all season long, I mean, you can't pick against Willie P. And they're just such a good, well-rounded team.
Sam?
I'm not surprised that they were able to win this game. The girls have been stepping up. They were 4-2 after they came back from Florida. And this game, it was a pitcher's duel to me. It was 0-0 till the 5th. The Pioneers got in front, and they weren't letting Montclair get any runs until they knew that they could secure the lead. And I think that this game was great to watch, and it was...
Joe Rea?
Well, when Allison Pomodreski left last season, the Pioneers knew that they needed somebody to solidify that pitching rotation, and Sarah Burns, I think we can all say, has definitely done that. I don't want to sound like a broken record like you said, but Sarah Burns, her name is definitely worthy of saying because she's logged 90 innings this year. We're only halfway through the year so far, and she's done that with 11 wins and ERA under 3. She's going to be a big reason why the Pioneers are going to be successful this year.
Well, a good thing playing softball, the pitchers can pitch like crazy. It's not like baseball. You need days on rest. So we're going to see her. She's easily going to break 100 innings.
They have a rubber arm.
Exactly. It's a rubber arm. The motion is just completely different. So having that situation and such a great pitcher, it's even better for the softball team because now you can keep putting that ace out there time and time again. We'll look at Game 2's box score, William Patterson versus Montclair State. William Patterson with another close victory, 5-4 over the Redhawks. 9 hits this time for our Pioneers and 6 for Montclair State. The batting average goes up to 346 compared to 222. And William Patterson improves to a 17-7 record as Montclair State now down to 14-8. Chris Douglas, what impressed you from the Pioneers? The bats picked up a little bit in Game 2 compared to Game 1. Would you say the bats are more impressive in Game 2 or the pitching more impressive in Game 1?
I'll tell you that the bats are more impressive in Game 2. But the late game pitching in both games is what's really impressive because the tying run was at the plate in both games in the last inning, and this team had no problem getting the win, a 1-run victory. It says a lot about the bullpen, and it says a lot about the pitching in general. But the hitting from this game, they were spraying the ball all over the field. Hitting display, they're up near 350 in average. So if this softball team is going to hit the ball that way, there's no way that they're going to be able to trip up down late in the season.
Joe, do you value the hitting more in Game 2 or the pitching in Game 1?
I mean, you got to value the pitching. The pitching is what's gotten the Pioneers where they are, and it's pretty much been how the Pioneers have rolled the past couple of years. The softball team has relied on their pitching, and the bats have helped out in addition, but overall, Sarah Burns keeping the ERA under 3, allowing under 3 runs in most of the games that she's played, she's been the reason.
Sam?
I have to give the credit to the hitting because although the pitching is doing very great and Sarah Burns is phenomenal, but I have to give this to Kara Molnar, especially during the second game. She went 3 for 3, 3 RBIs. They only scored 5, so she was responsible for most of them. So I think the hitting is stepping up a lot, and they can do well this season.
Justin?
Sarah Burns, she does it again. We had some other struggles from the pitching staff. Alexis Davidson started the game. She gave up 5 hits. She was struggling a bit. Well, you know, coach calls in Sarah Burns. She shuts down the game. She didn't allow any runs. She's allowed her team to win 5-4. So even when the bats are heating up, it's nice to see that you still have solid pitching because the combination, too, is deadly.
Now we'll switch over from the softball team to the baseball team as we take a look at their numbers from their game earlier in the week where they took on the USSMA Mariners in an impressive comeback victory for our Pioneers, winning in extra innings 7-6, having 12 hits compared to 14 on the Mariners. 2 errors for the Pioneers, 1 error for the Mariners, and Dan Carter's home run. The most important thing that we don't see on this stat sheet right now is the Pioneers went into the bottom of the 9th inning down 6-2 and had a big 4-run inning in the 9th and were able to win it in the 10th. Justin, what in the world happened with our Pioneers? The late hot bats providing the victory. What did you see?
Joe and I had the pleasure of calling a game and watching that game unfold. And going into the bottom of the 9th, the momentum, it just shifted off of one play. It was Cuevas at the plate, and what looked like it was just going to be a ground out. The first baseman had an error, and he was going to flip it to the pitcher at the time, as Kelly Jr. at first base, but the ball just fell out of his mitt. So Cuevas ends up on first. That was the first error. There's 2 errors in the bottom of the 9th. A big one, which was supposed to be a base hit, would have put a man on first and second, ended up being an RBI triple. So it was 2 errors, momentum swung, they knocked the game at 6 apiece in the bottom of that 9th inning. They go on into the 10th, Kelly Jr. struggling, coach has to pull him out, but it's already too late. And eventually the Pioneers had bases loaded, they're able to get a walk-off bunt victory, 7-6. It was easily the most entertaining Pioneer baseball game I've seen in my life.
Sam?
They've never faced this team before, so it was probably a little surprising when they came across them. But I have to give the pitching a lot of credit. Aside from the 4th inning, although there were a lot of hits, aside from the 4th inning, the other team didn't really do that much. They had 15 hits, and I think 15 hits could have been a lot worse for only 6 runs. But I think the pitching did great and was able to pull it back a little and spread those hits out.
Yeah, our buddy here at Sports Desk, Jeff Lombardi Jr., had a great game, 3 1/3 innings. He did give up 1 run, but it was unearned, so he was able to basically hold things down and keep the team in the game. William Patterson also had another game against Rutgers Newark, and they picked up a victory. We'll take a look at the numbers from Game 1 of the doubleheader. William Patterson with an 8-4 victory over the Scarlet Raiders, a nice NJAC victory. 14 hits for the Pioneers. The bat's a lot hotter compared to that last game. Only 5 hits, the pitching gets stronger. 4 strikeouts for the Pioneers, 9 for the Scarlet Raiders, and 3 errors apiece. Chris Douglas, we'll start with you. What did you see from the Pioneers in this game? Do they have the ability to sweep this series today?
Yes, I saw that they have been hitting the ball, especially the freshmen. All season long, it's been Dan Carter has been the name that we talk about the most. But you can see in the highlights from this game that they were able to hit the ball well even in this game. So once they established that first half of the doubleheader, I think having the day off in between is going to give this William Patterson team some nice rest, and they're going to be able to come out fresh and then sweep the doubleheader today.
Joe Raya?
Adam Miller pitched yesterday. He has an ERA just under 1, gave up 4 runs yesterday, didn't have the best game of the season so far, but his bats were able to bail him out. Dan Carter, who's been slumping over the past couple of weeks, picked it up yesterday, and he was able to help Adam Miller solidify what was not as good of an outing from him, but the Pioneers came away with the victory.
Unfortunately, that is all the time we have left. The baseball team finishes their doubleheader at Jeff Albies Field today at 3:30. Up next is Joe Raya and the MLB crew.